And if you have witnessed yesterday's debate between Trump and Clinton, it's definitely becoming more brutal. The more investors tend to keep on the sidelines and not really decide for long-term investments. It's rather the short-term investors, the speculators that use a lot of computers for their trading, which decide what's happening on the market at the moment. And that brings me to the job numbers you mentioned. The numbers were a bit weak, but they were robust enough to support the idea that soon we can, get prepared for an interest rate hike in the US. And this is another factor adding uncertainty to the markets and keeping long-term oriented investors on the sidelines, leaving the field to the short-term traders.
Now, let's get more updates regards Deutsche Bank. We hear that the bank is yet to achieve a settlement deal with the U.S. Department of Justice over allegations it missold mortgage-backed securities. The bank was trading over 3% lower this morning. What is the likelihood this will be sorted out soon?
Well, after John Crine, Deutsche Bank's chief, returned from a weekend in Washington without having struck a settlement, it's more likely that it's going to take some time until such a settlement will be agreed on. Crine traveled to Washington for the IMF and World Bank meeting in Washington there, but he also met members of the US Department of Justice, and this led to a lot of speculation on the market that he would come back to Frankfurt with a settlement in pack. Well, he didn't. It turned out that those expectations had been premature, and that leads investors, at least some investors, to believe that it's still quite a way to go until a settlement will be found, and those investors are selling the share today.
So what are market expectations for this week in terms of news and possibly economic data?
Well, we are going to be talking about quite a few earnings reports from the US. The earnings season there is getting into gear with Alcoa, the aluminium maker, coming out with its third quarter earnings tomorrow. Later this week, several large banks in the US will come out with their earnings: JP Morgan Chase, Citigroup and Wells Fargo. In terms of economic data, we will be talking a lot about prices, with consumer price inflation updated here in Germany, in China and in India, producer prices being updated in the United States. And well, speaking of the United States, we'll be talking a lot about interest rates again, since also in the US, the minutes of the last monetary policy meeting of the Federal Reserve will be published, which means that we'll get a little bit more data to keep in mind if we want to know whether to expect that rate hike in the US soon or not.
Thank you so much, Conrad Busen, DW TV financial correspondent. Tech giant Facebook says it's paid the sum of £4.16 million in the UK in terms of corporation tax last year. The company noted that it is a big increase on the £4,327 pounds paid in 2014, which prompted an outcry from campaigners who argued it had paid too little. However, critics kick against plans to pay the company a tax credit of £11 million, which can be used to offset tax bills at a later date. The firm said that it was proud to have grown its business in the UK. The social network posted taxable profit for the year to 31 December, about £20 million, on which it paid tax at the standard corporation tax rate. Turnover more than doubled to £210 million. The tax credit is a result of certain payments linked to its bonus scheme for staff. Okay, let's quickly look at the market in terms of how we're doing at the local debt market. Looking at the trading numbers for today, Ifeanyi Akweche is a fixed income dealer with Wema Bank, and she joins me on the program. Good afternoon, Ifeanyi.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Thank you for your time. Now, it's the first day of the week. What is the sentiment in the markets?
At the fixed income market today, the trend we witnessed on Friday continued. At the bond market, we still experience some sell down. As dealers are expecting better yield at the auction, we're supposed to hold this week on Wednesday to be precise. At the T-bills market, we also experience the same trend where dealers are still being very bullish. At the moment, the market is still trading, and that's where we are at the moment.
All right, thank you so much, Ifeanyi Akweche. That's all we can take for you from you at this time. Ifeanyi is a fixed income dealer with Wema Bank. We'll go on a break now. I'll be right back.